Let's take a look at the artist Wayne Thiebaud as our inspiration for our next project, taking shapes and turning them into forms. As you can see, a lot of these desserts have some basic shapes, whether it's cylinders, triangular prisms, or ovals. This is our inspiration as we get started today. And you can think about what kind of dessert you want to put as you get started working on your shapes to forms. As you can see, the top sections have some shapes, and the bottom shapes got turned into forms. Start thinking about what kind of dessert that you would like to create on your paper and start sketching it out into the shape that got turned into a form. You'll notice that when I think about a round cake, a circular cake, I'm going to be turning that into a cylinder. So I'm using some of those basic shapes as I get started. Now notice, if you want to make it look like a piece of cake is cut out of your big cake, there's a lot of repetition going on here. Notice the triangular shape at the top got repeated down at the bottom. Just like when I started my ovals, the top of the oval for the cake got repeated as an oval at the bottom. And then again, I started thinking about what kinds of designs would I like to do onto my cake pattern, or whatever kind of dessert that I choose. As you can see, I'm starting to draw out all my ideas in pencil first, figuring out what I want to do for this project. Pencil your work in first, draw lightly till you've got it right, and when you feel a little more confident, then you can get your drawing designs on a little bit darker. This is kind of the fun stage, is planning out and deciding, what do I want to put onto my project? Once you have your pencil lines figured out, then let's take a moment, grab a Sharpie, and we'll go over our pencil lines with a black Sharpie next. I grabbed a different one so that we could continue into the next part of the project. Very similar designs. I just went ahead and I outlined it with Sharpie right away. Now, grabbing some washable markers, use the thick or the thicker side of the marker as you begin your designs. Do not use the top of your marker like this. You want to use the thick side of the marker so that this marker can get turned into a paint. Sometimes I even go over it a second time to make my line thicker, especially if I'm worried about the color not showing up very well. So again, I'm going to be taking my marker and going over all of my shapes that my cake has in it, or my form, if you will, and just outline using the side of the marker so that I get a nice bold marker line going onto each section of my cake. You're welcome to fill in some areas if you want to, but as you can see, I went ahead and used my markers to outline my Sharpie work. Now this is for the really cool step. I'm going to be taking a container of water and my paintbrush and blending some of those colors together. You'll notice I constantly go back to the water container, put it into the water, then onto the marker to turn it into a paint. Now let's set that aside so that it can dry. While that's drying, I started thinking about the different extra embellishments that I could put onto my project. It does not have to be flowers. You might want to do some embellishments as different kinds of candy that you could put on, sprinkles. Maybe you want to use your construction paper to make candles if you didn't draw that into your project. But I used my construction paper for areas that I want to stand out onto my project. I wanted these items to be something that people will get to notice right away. So that's why I'm taking some scrap construction paper with my oil pastels, drawing, outlining, and adding a lot of really cool analogous or really bright colors onto whatever it is that I want for my embellishment. Again, it can be anything that you want to stand out. What do you want emphasized? Please do that with some construction paper and oil pastels. I also like to outline mine with black just for that pop of color. It makes all of my images show up better. That black oil pastel does a really nice job. It's so much easier and the colors seem so much brighter when I've outlined it. I'm going to speed it up and I cut that out for my project. Now that my project is dry, I'm going to take my oil pastels and just do some touch-ups. What do I want to, like especially if your color blended or went too far, or perhaps you want something to stand out, or you want to use a little bit more oil pastel for some decoration, let's do that. Now I'm taking some colored crayons and I'm using this for contrast. Please do not use marker into your background. You can make it all one color, or if you want to make it two different colors like I did so it looks like it's on a table against a back wall, I'm using some colors and I'm pressing down a little bit harder as it's closer to my project. Kind of makes it look like it stands out. Going back to those embellishments that we talked about earlier, I'm going to take my embellishments now, decide where I want to put them, and then glue them in place. I'm really glad that I took this extra step for embellishments. It really makes the project look really cool. Now I went ahead and I grabbed some glue and some glitter and put that on. I know that it looks different when it's dry, so as you can see, these are some items with the dryness of the glitter. This is iridescent glitter and it makes it look like sugar or special candy pieces. Thanks for watching. Happy art making.